Rafinha scores for Leeds United! To a Barley goal! Leeds have won the game! Yes! And it's Liam Cooper's first goal of the season, and what a time to get it!
So 2 important home games in a week for Leeds United. We're halfway through. Job done against Palace the other night. Now it's the visit of Brentford. This is the warm-up. Coming up for you on the show this week.
I would say the kids don't try this at home, to be honest.
I think that's the most I've celebrated for a while.
I've got an awful image this weekend of loads of kids playing grassroots football and get a penalty. They're going to try that. Come on! So welcome to this week's show with myself, Rich Williams, and Leeds United legend Don Matteo, who's with us as well. This is in association with NordVPN, the world's leading VPN provider, and there is a special offer for all Leeds United fans, which is on the screen for you now. Let's start off, Dom, with that game the other night. Behind us.
Yes.
It was bouncing at the end, wasn't it? And a really important win against Palace.
It really was.
Never in doubt, Dom.
It was never in doubt, but I think we all felt them nerves. Let's be brutally honest. It was a hard game. We knew Palace were going to bring something to the table, and they did. Vieira's got them well organised, but it was all about that result. You know, I think there was nerves all throughout all the boxes and stuff. I was speaking to people. There was a little bit. You know, people were like, "Oh gosh, we need to get a result," and it was like that. And I think the players, in a way, responded. Especially in the first 10-15 minutes, we started really well. Then Palace obviously found their feet a little bit, and it was kind of back and forth for a majority of the game. And I thought it was like the performance that I kind of expected, to be honest. I knew there'd be a little bit of anxiety amongst the players, but it was all about the win and that goal. I mean, come on. I mean, it was a penalty. For once, VAR have got it right. You know what I'm like about VAR. I'm not a massive fan, but I tell you what, I liked it then. And it was the right decision. And what a header! Well, what a goal to stand up and take that penalty was brilliant, absolutely outstanding. And he's a braver man than me, but well done, because that took some cojones to do.
There was a moment inside Ellen Road, and if you were here, you will have known. It went totally silent. Just when he did that little hop and skip. I've got an awful image this weekend of loads of kids playing grassroots football and get a penalty. They're going to try that. And your coach is going to yank you straight off if you do that. But Rafinha, you know, he's full of confidence, isn't he? And if he's going to back himself, he'll do it in his style.
He will. And I don't know if he's been watching Jorginho, you know, from Chelsea, because he's the master at it, isn't he? He's done so much of that. But yeah, I mean, I think with Rafa, you know the kind of ability he's got. But sometimes he just surprises you, and that did surprise me when he did that. And I think we all did go, oh, and took a big deep breath, and then obviously never in doubt when he got the connection, because the perfect connection. He fooled the keeper as well, and that's what we do. And he's so clever at that. And fair play to him to stand up and take that with so much pressure, and you could feel that. And it was an amazing. I think that's the most I've celebrated for a while, and I really enjoyed them few moments. Me and Keith were sat in the West Stand, and we just went mental. I think it's nice that as well, and I think the fans needed that, and I think the club, everyone needed it, and it felt so nice after the game to see happy faces back at Ellen Road. It was really important, that as well.
Of course, we'll be previewing Brentford for you fully in just a moment. We knew these 3 games were going to be big. Brighton, it wasn't the best performance.
No.
We got away with a point. That's the positive there. Backing it up with the 3 points here, and suddenly you look at the league table. It looks very different now. Leeds are just nudging their way up, and in a bunch of teams who are in and around the same area. Yeah,
most definitely. And that, you know, the Premier League, we all know how tough it is, and we did so well last season. That actually puts a little bit more pressure on, I think, to follow that up again. So we've had injuries. We're starting to get a few back. So I just think when we get them all back, then we'll see more of a team, I think, because at the moment it's a little bit disjointed. We all know that because he's playing players in different positions. I think when we can play players in their preferred positions, that's when we'll see the best Leeds United. But like you say, let's not take away the result we got, because the lads who came in and played had done well. But there is going to be players coming back, and I think when they do come back, they will play because they're that important. Ayling, Bamford, they're two that come straight away. I go them two. If we get them two back in, it might change the system or the players, but them two are so important. They've done so well for us. Bamford with his goals and Ayling with his energy and the way he plays and the way Bielsa likes him to play as well, bombing forward, getting back, he can do it all. So yeah, it'll be really good for the club when them two are back, firing fit.
Because of course, look, from an attacking point of view, goals have been difficult, especially from open play as well. The last ones here have been a couple of penalties and a free kick from Rafinha just behind us in that game against Leicester. Defensively, much more solid in terms of what we've conceded. But one thing that the team are doing, and how important is this, Dom? You can see them, they're going right to the end of games. They're pushing all the way. It's a characteristic that's important if you're going to have success.
Yeah, and I think the back-to-back clean sheets for me, with me centre-half's cap on, I think they're important as well and gives the players and the team confidence. But like you said, playing for the full 90 minutes, we've not really had a full 90-minute performance. That was actually, we kept going right the way to the end and we got our just deserves. I think they'll be a little bit gutted as well, let's be brutally honest. They probably think...
My heart's bleeding right now.
Well, it's not. I know, but you've got to think about, obviously, the misses of Benteke. So we did get a little bit of luck, and we were due a bit of that as well, because, sometimes things haven't gone right for us, but that's football. And we've seen in the Premier League, if you do make a little mistake, that's what they usually capitalise on it. Lucky for us, Benteke didn't, and we pushed forward. And I just think, as you've already mentioned, the team just kept going and going and going right to the end, and the fans were with them all the way with that. And that's what if you're a Leeds fan, I mean, I know as an ex-Leeds player, I knew if I put a shift in for this club, week in, week out, the fans will be fine with you. They always are. If you put a shift in, you're having a good go for the club, they'll accept that. Obviously you want to win, but it doesn't always work out that way. But I always think the fans are very fair. If people are putting an effort in, the shift in, then the fans will love you for that.
Before we look at this weekend's game for Leeds in detail, let's just take a look at the Premier League fixtures this week. In fact, let's take two of them here, Dom. A top four battle and a bottom four battle as well. Very quickly, first, West Ham at home to Chelsea.
It's a good game, isn't it? I keep saying good game, don't I? I mean, West Ham have not been surprised me this year, but with the performances they've had and the results they've had, I know they've had a bit of a slip up obviously they've won this week, but before that they had a couple of slip ups. But I think David Moyes has got a good squad, better than what I think he actually thought, and obviously they've got some top players. So it will be an interesting game. I still think Chelsea will be too strong, and I don't think there'll be much in it. I think they'll just get it over the line, and I think that's a skill they have as well. Chelsea, they've got some really strong defenders and physicality about them, and I think obviously Lukaku hasn't been playing in every game. Someone like him and that big physical presence, I think they'll just get that over the line. So I'll go for them. Chelsea.
And one of the richest clubs in the world taking on Burnley as well. Both of those teams need a win, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I think for us, let's be honest as well. Maybe a draw might suit us. That one just keeps everyone away. But I think at some point, Newcastle really have to start getting results. But have they got the players? Have they got the squad? If you're looking in the depth of their squad, I don't think it's good enough. And they'll know that. And at the moment, they can't make any changes. But I'm sure when them purse strings open, they will definitely be going into looking for better players, because they have to. They really have to. And for Eddie Howe as well, he'll be knocking on that door saying, right, we need him and him, because we know what they can produce. And they're going to have to make some changes very, very soon, because otherwise, unfortunately for them, they might struggle this year.
Stu, thanks so much for joining us on the warm-up. Congratulations on the win the other night. Some pretty big celebrations at the end there. You looked like you enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I think it was one more of relief more than anything. It was obviously to leave it late. It's better late than never, as I say, but I thought it was a game we deserved to win, although they had a couple of big chances themselves, but I thought it was a game that we sort of dominated in terms of possession. And but yeah, we played really well a couple of weeks ago at Tottenham, didn't get anything from it, didn't play so well against Brighton and managed not to lose. And we took a lot from that, believe it or not, from that performance at Brighton, because we showed that when we're up against it, that we can really dig in and get a result, and we wanted to build on that. And we had we looked at these two games, two huge home games, and obviously taking one game at a time. But that was a big night for us on Tuesday night, and we were delighted with the win.
Stu, I just wanted to mention that little tussle you had with Zaha. I absolutely loved it. I mean, not just because he fell on his face. I know you don't want to talk about current players like that, but it was just, I just thought, up against Zaha, I thought you handled him very well, because I know you can play all over, but to play up against a top player like him and play that well, so impressive, mate. It was really, really brilliant to watch as well. And it was a great physical game as well. I liked the game, even though it was only 1-0. The physicality in the game was there from the start. I know Calvin Phillips set the tone really with that first tackle, but I think all of you really did well. And I think that personal duel between you two was outstanding.
I think, as you say, Calvin sort of set the tempo. I think there was one early on as well where Tyler, he charged the ball down, and it got the fans early on as well, really behind us. And we sort of showed our intent from the start of the game. The first 15 minutes I thought we were bang at it, and then obviously we started to get a bit open and giving away a few counter attacks. But yeah, in terms of the personal battle with me and Zaha, I enjoy coming up against the best players, and for me he's one of the best, the trickiest wingers in the league. We had a little tussle early on, and he got by me a few times during the game, but I stuck to my guns and enjoyed it. It was good, and obviously it wouldn't have felt so good if we had to come off the pitch not winning the game, but obviously winning the game was a bit more sweeter for me and the team, obviously.
That move where you were on the floor, sort of on your stomach, and you managed to head it onto his leg and win us a goal kick, is that something you practice in training?
No, it's one of, I would say to kids, don't try this at home, to be honest. You could end up injured. But yeah, he had got pat. I tried till when he took his first touch, I think I tried to get as close to him as possible, and I sort of tripped. And as I was going down, I knew if I don't do something, he's gone past me, so I just thought I would try and head it, and I hurt my shoulder doing that as well, but thankfully it worked out well for me. I would have looked a bit silly if he had skipped past me and scored, but thankfully I had a bit of luck on my side.
So just give us a bit of insight. We've obviously got Brentford next. What do they bring to the table? Obviously Pontus could be back if he's fit, So does that bring a bit of something, a bit more spice into the game for certain players because he's back, and obviously he was well liked at Leeds as well?
Yeah, I think obviously the likes of Pontus, the opportunity for him to come back and play. I know he still has a good relationship with the fans, and the fans, obviously the majority of fans still think a lot of him. He was well liked when he was at the club, and obviously him coming back, we're looking to get one over on us. I think Brentford have been, certainly the way they started the season, they were a bit like us last year, where they're new to the league and have sort of been a bit of a breath of fresh air till it. So it's going to be a tough game. They come, they look to play. They're a good side, and we've got to be on it. It's another opportunity for us to build on the last couple of results. And I think obviously with the tussle that we had with them in the Championship, a couple of years ago, the way they run us close as well is adds a bit more to it too. They'll be looking to come here and try and turn us over, and it's important that we're focused and on the job ahead, and hopefully we can get another win.
It's always nice to get a result against your old club. When I was at Liverpool and played against Leeds, we actually won 2-1 away, and it felt weird but nice. I know you played for Brentford as well, so do you still have that affinity with the club, or is it just, is it one of them now? You just move your totally focused now in Leeds, obviously?
Yeah, obviously totally focused on Leeds, but it would be nice to get one over on them. I've played them a couple of times, obviously, since I left. But I have a lot of respect for the club. I know, obviously, we had the tussle in the Championship a couple of years ago, where it was touch and go for the majority of the season. And but listen, I've a lot of respect for the club there. I still speak to people throughout the club, and I'm thankful for my opportunity with them. When I first moved across to England, but come Sunday, we put all that aside, and hopefully we can get a result.
Just finally, Stuart, thanks for your time. Really, really appreciate it. I know it's one game at a time. I know that has to be the mentality, and it's right to be so. But we've got this massive festive period coming up, which all the fans are really looking forward to. Some huge games in there. We had some great games against the top teams last season. We're expecting nothing less than a last-minute Stuart Dallas winner at Man City, of course. But how excited are the team now that things are picking up a little bit, going into those run of fixtures for Christmas?
Firstly, that would be great if I did score last minute winner, because I haven't managed to score this season, so I'm due one. So fingers crossed it's coming soon. But look, we're all excited. Obviously, the Christmas period, and certainly in England and in Britain, is one that everybody looks forward to. It's a busy schedule for everyone. For us players, it's hectic in around Christmas time. But we've a huge December coming up. There's no getting away from it, and it's important that we pick up as many points as possible going into the Christmas period. As the fixtures get congested, and we really need to. Everybody to be on board, the squad to be as fit as possible, because we're going to need everybody over this period. But we've just got to try and win as many games as possible. Obviously, we have a huge game on Sunday, and if we can win that, we'll be in a decent position, I think, going into them games.
Stu, thanks for joining us on the warm up. Much appreciated as always.
Cheers, Stu. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
So Brentford, the visitors then to Ellen Road. Don, we said before that Brighton game, we looked at this run of 3. You would have liked 3 wins, but 4 points in the first 2 games with an opportunity to hopefully make it 7 would be a great return against a team who newly promoted. They've done really well.
They have. They've done excellent. They started really well. Obviously, I think when you do transition to like the Premier League, they've done really well. And I think you sometimes get that good start, and we've seen that with Brentford. They started really well, then they had a tough period, and then hopefully that tough period stays, and obviously Leeds can gain from that. But I think they're well run. We know that they're well organised. They've got some good players. Tony's on fire at them, isn't the big striker? Obviously Pontus Jansson, ex-Leeds United. Obviously we won't be supporting him, but obviously he'll be important because he's a leader, he's a voice, he's a talker. So they've got a big physical presence, and at times we have struggled against that physical presence. We've mentioned it a few times, haven't we? So whoever's up against Tony, for example, they're going to have to defend well. Llorente and Coops have formed, in my opinion, a really good partnership, and I'm really pleased as well because I think they have had a bit of criticism, and I think they didn't deserve that. I think they've done really well, and I think that partnership's growing. But yeah, going back to Brentford, they have got a threat on the counter. They're quick, solid, well organised. They'll probably play 3-5-2. That's the way they usually play. Don't quote me on that because they could throw a curveball in, but I think that's how they'll play, and I think they'll actually suit Leeds that system. I think we do better against a 3.
We've had some big injuries this season, obviously. Still waiting for some of the players to come back. But for Brentford, their goalkeeper Ray is now out for a while, and they've looked a bit more susceptible at the back as well. We've struggled to score maybe as many as we'd like. They're conceding a few. Is this going to be the game, Dom?
Let's hope so. I think it's the goalkeeper's always a massive. If your goalkeeper's not playing well, you're always going to struggle, aren't you? Let's be honest. You can't keep the ball out, but. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. I think early on, put the pressure on him straight away. I always felt when you're playing against a keeper who's maybe not got a lot of experience in that league, just fire balls in, maybe go a bit longer at times, depending what team we pick. If we've got a physical presence, if Pat plays, I'm not saying he will, but if he did, we can get a few balls into him, and I think he might struggle with that physical side. And I think against a keeper who maybe, like you say, hasn't got a lot of experience in the Premier League, might struggle, and I hope he does, because that's what we need to be doing.
It's going to be bouncing here, isn't it? Kick off against Brentford. I'm going to come to you for your prediction in just a moment. Before we do that, Luke Ayling is flying high at the top of our 9 darts challenge, but can Dan James take the top spot?
Hi, I'm Dan the Iceman James, and this is the 9 dart challenge. 19. Terrible. Class.
Come on!
I'm Dan the Iceman James, and that was my 9 dart challenge.
Football is for everyone, and we are committed to fighting for equality for all.
Prejudice and abuse must not be tolerated anywhere.
Not at Ellen Road, away from home or online.
We will continue the fight against any form of discrimination.
The fight against racism.
The fight against homophobia.
And the fight against anti-Semitism and all other religious discriminations.
We all want to play our part and end the abuse people suffer. It needs to be removed from our game.
Those who disagree are not welcome.
Everyone should be equal.
Equality for everyone.
Well, thanks again for watching the warm-up this week. If you ever want to get in touch, just use the hashtag #TheWarmUp. That's where you'll find us. Dom, it's time for the most important moment of the whole show, which is when you tell everyone how many goals Leeds are going to beat Brentford by.
Today, I'm going to go for, I'm going to say it slowly to get some more time.
Go on.
No, I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0 Leeds.
Yeah. Another clean sheet, 3 in a row.
Another clean sheet. That's
7
what I'd
points
love.
from 9.
That's what I'd love.
Looking up the table.
Looking up the table. 7 points. Happy days. Let's go.
Let's have it. There you go. Your commentary team will be Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo. Enjoy the match.